Hello everybody, welcome back to F45 Trading and our weekly review for February 4th to Friday, February 8th. Looking at the Forex markets, I'm going to go through a couple of major Forex pairs and talk about crude oil, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm not going to be very long on this one here, going to keep it short and sweet. So we had the U.S. government is back now finally. After about a week. Last week was pretty volatile. We obviously had FOMC and monetary rate meetings, and then non-farm to wrap up the week of last week. So we had a little bit of volatility, and really wasn't conducive to any. I mean, there were definitely a few setups. You could go in and you could scalp 20, 30 pips here and there. You might even be lucky to catch a runner. But if you look at the U.S. dollar and what it did in here last week, you can see it was pretty much a go-nowhere week. And this being obviously the Sunday candle that's just been open now. But we've had a little bit of a drop and then pretty much a return back to where it almost opened. So not a whole lot of activity in terms of direction for the U.S. dollar. Now the U.S. dollar did obviously, they did not decide to increase their interest rate. And typically what happens if you increase interest rates, it starts to drive the prices higher for the dollar. So in this case, U.S. dollar did not increase the rates. They kept them the same. They didn't decrease them. So we're still not out of this chop yet. We're right in the middle of this range that I have highlighted here. And it doesn't look like we're going to see it run out of this range yet. Now, with that being said, anything is possible, but I'm not anticipating higher dollar prices yet. We've got to break a couple of barriers. Now, we did have a failure swing down here from last week. Price failed to get lower than this low here, and it also failed to get lower than this low here. So right now we're still seeing higher lows happening. So we got a run down here from a low, made a higher low here, a couple more higher lows, ran down once to make another higher low, and again higher low here. We came retraced all the way back down, made another higher low, and now we're making another higher low here. However, if you look at this, I mean, look where we've been since early December. We're trading down, and I would expect this to continue. I'm assuming that eventually they're going to start running these lows here. I think what they're doing is creating a false level of support on the downside. Everybody is sitting here thinking, well, you know, price is coming down, they're retracing, but they're going to keep pushing this thing longer, and everyone's jamming their stop up under the next higher low. And I think what they're going to do is do a big drop down to sweep the stops under here, and possibly under here. I've had this area on the chart marked up for quite a while now, and they've yet to run lower into there. Now, anything is possible for sure. U.S. economy is a bit all over the map right now. They're what's it called? The word is escaping me. The government, thank you. The government is finally back to work until November 14th. They've got a temporary back to work for a couple of weeks. So we've got this week and next week to trade before unless they reach a deal, obviously. And then in which case, if they haven't reached a deal, then Trump is going to shut down the government again, and we could be back to where we were, again, trading in the range. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, the U.S. dollar actually starts to make a bit of a direction. Now, if you look seasonally, though, we're right where we should be. Seasonally, price consolidates, and then we start to see a bit of a rally into a drop into the spring, late spring, and early summer months. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, last year bucked the trend. We had a nice big high rally going in, but you can see same thing last year, right around this time frame, from January, and in this case it ended in about the end of April. We had a nice tight consolidation. We could be seeing the same things building up here for this year. So don't get too crazy, and don't think that the cross pairs are going to start running these massive 1,000 pip directions yet. We're not quite there in the season. But that doesn't mean that there aren't a few setups. So what I'm looking at on the dollar for this week, I'd like to see them push, let me expand this a bit. I'd like to see them make one push higher in here and fail right around that 95.70 level. It may not even swing higher than this high rate here, which comes in at 95.67. It may attempt to get up to there, and then I would hope to see it price fall off again. If we break this 95.70 level, I would say that there's a pretty good possibility then that they may want to run it back up here to try and clean some area up in here. But again, we're going to be probably moving sideways direction for the next foreseeable future. So when trading in consolidations, obviously when it goes down to the low, you buy it, expecting it to run longer. When it goes to the high, you sell it and expecting it to go lower. So right now, I am expecting it to come up to 95.70. Where it goes from there, we're going to have to wait and see. If this runs up Monday and then Tuesday hits the high up into here, I could be expecting a bit of a reversal. Now, if we look at the news for the week, we've got some heavy Australian dollar news on Monday. We've got the bank rate statements. So Australian dollar, if you are an Aussie trader, just be careful on the Aussie for Monday because you could see a bit of volatility there. I'll talk about the Aussie as well too to follow up on that. And then we've got ISM manufacturing news at 10 a.m. New York time on Tuesday. So we could see a big push up into here or a reversal when those numbers come in. So if we start making a bit of a high in here coming into Tuesday into those ISM numbers, I could be expecting a reversal at that point and then a continuation lower. Depending on what the news is going to tell us, if it's strong news, it could even push this thing up higher into back up into here. So we won't know until Tuesday, but I am expecting this to rally a little bit higher from current location. We're at 95.42, so not too far away, about 30 pips on the go that could be available in the US dollar. To wrap up the rest of the week, I'll just finish this off while I got it in front of me. We've got the more Australian dollar news late Tuesday night, and then Wednesday Canadian dollar news and US dollar, USD. Fed Chair Powell speaking late after the markets are closed on Wednesday. So it's going to be interesting to see what it's going to do to the price there. We could see some volatility in the Asian range on Wednesday evening, so watch out for that. Thursday, don't be trading the pound or any pound cross pairs. We've got the bank rates. We've got monetary policy. So there's going to be a lot of fluctuation on the cable for Thursday. So if you're going to trade the cable or any cross pairs for the pound, again, just make sure you get all your trading done before Thursday. Keep that in mind. And then Canadian dollar, we've got some nice high impact news events happening on Friday. So we'll be watching for the Canadian dollar setups for Friday as well too, and that's your week in a nutshell. We've got some good news drivers, and I think we'll see a lot of movement happening on the pair. So let's jump into this a little bit deeper, and we'll see where we end up for the end of the week here. So if we are looking potentially at short-term bullishness, I think we could see price roll over somewhere in this area here. And as you can see, price is looking pretty strong so far. So I'm going to expect this to continue into at least Monday and Tuesday. So if we think of that idea, we go into the euro, and I'm just going to go to a daily here. And if we see lower prices than the US dollar, that's where price will get up here on the euro eventually. I don't think we're there quite yet. I think we could roll over a little bit in the euro. So if we drive up in the US dollar, we could pull down a bit. And so far we see this bearish candle starting out for Sunday here. And if we go down to the 4-hour, we can see there's a couple of equal lows under price right in here. And I want to see what happens when price comes down to this level right in around here, the 114.20 level. In my opinion, I think could have a little bit of significance. I want to see them, and that would basically just be a stop run right under these two lows of about 10 to 15 pips. If we see any continuation or willingness to go further than that, then there's a very strong possibility that price may want to come all the way back down to 1340 level. Maybe not quite this low. There is a possibility of it coming this low. Anything's possible with the euro, and especially with what the dollar's doing. If we see that big rip up in the dollar, though, and we see a push into here, I don't see why cable would not be able to at least achieve a move down to here. Certainly a run underneath these lows under here. Anywhere, to be honest with you, anywhere there to about the 113.80 level, I think would be fair game on the euro. So just moving forward. So watch these three numbers here. But I do think it will probably stretch below for sure here, and then I want to see what kind of willingness it has to get underneath these lows here. So if we see them really starting to drop price under this low here, I think 1380 is going to definitely be on the menu, and then we'll see. I don't know about the 1340. Don't quote me on that one. We'll see how much strength there is to the downside on that. but I definitely foresee a couple of days, at least early in the week, of them running price lower. Now, where they go from there and how big they bounce, if they do bounce from these locations, it's anyone's guess. But I would suggest that we definitely look at this high in here as a potential suspect, which I'll get a level on that. Just going to slide this guy up right about there. So about 15, sorry, 115, call it 15, I guess it would probably run up to. As just sort of an even level, even number, mid-level number, I should say. Put that on the chart. So I think if we do get a significant bounce and we do see the price of the US dollar run up and then run down, like I think it could do this week, then we should see the exact opposite happening. We could see price at least push up into here. Again, I'm not expecting, pardon me, fireworks happening this week, but I would anticipate we will see a runner down to these levels here. So I think we can probably anticipate some trade ideas on that if that happens. But I'm going to be looking for these lows in here to start off the week. So we'll see how it goes from there, and then from there, again, we'll just sort of play it on the fly from there. I might update our members again after price tags into here for the week. If it gets down here at all, we could see a bounce rate in this level. Right where we're at right now, we could definitely see a bounce as well, which would be the same level on the US dollar. We could see technically we could see a bounce in here as well, and continue lower. I think the odds are pretty likely, though, that we're probably going to keep pushing higher, and which means we're probably going to see this pushing lower. So cable, keep in mind, cable's got those monetary policy news, and that's why I have this 129.90, 130 big level or big figure on this marked out. I think a run below this low here is very, very likely. And then after that, we could see a big bounce at that level to continue this movement higher. I don't think they're done going to the upside yet, but just be careful with cable because, again, there's a lot of announcements with Brexit, and again, their monetary policy statements are coming out this week. So we're definitely going to see volatility in the cable. What they want to do, I don't know, but I think there's a real strong possibility that they could run it back down to 129.90 to 130 big level. So watch for that. And from there, who knows? We could see a great big bounce and a nice run and a big aggressive push up to here. We won't know that until after those monetary policy numbers come out on Thursday. So I'll be able to give you a better idea of directional bias after Thursday. But so far, price is doing a real good job of holding this level right in here. It really is having a hard time breaking lower. And I think, again, in terms of artificial support, you can see how price is really breaking down. And it's actually kind of forming a bit of a descending triangle pattern here. Just kind of show you this here real quick. You can see that is sort of forming right now. And I think we could see one big quick dip down and then potentially a continued run higher. It's almost like a bull pennant is almost what it's like. But I just think there's a real likelihood that they could run this guy lower. So just be careful on the cable. I'm not trading it this week. I'm going to focus, I think, on the euro and the Canadian dollar and the Aussie dollar. Actually, I think there could be a potential trade on there. So US CAD, same idea. We're probably going to see price run up. I don't necessarily think we're going to see a big bull run up to the 13200 level. That's quite a ways away from for the Canadian dollar. Not quite a ways. I guess it's 100 pips. But it's looking pretty heavy where it's at. I was actually hoping that we would have seen a continued rise, but obviously the Canadian dollar is showing some signs of strength with the weakening US dollar, as you can see in here. And so that's lending to a weaker US CAD. It's giving the Canadian futures price a little bit of strength, and in turn it's driving price down. Not to mention the price of oil as well. It's very tied in with the Canadian dollar is also very tied in with the price of crude oil, and crude oil has been making a nice big run lately. So it's obviously going to strengthen this as well, which is why you're going to see the price probably fall on US CAD. So this week trading, I think there's a real likelihood that this level will get hit right in about here. The 131.20 could see a run up to there. When it gets up to there, I want to see what happens. If we see price wanting to shoot higher, then there's a very real possibility that 13200 could get hit, even up to the lows in there at 131.80. So right in around here, we could see price wanting to run in up to there on the US CAD. Now, if we see price run up to there, pardon me, I believe there's a real possibility for the price of Canadian dollar to continue to roll over from there. So I'm going to hold off. I want to see what price does on Canadian dollar, and if we do see a swing up to there, I'll be monitoring that, and we can act accordingly if it does. Okay. UJ, I want to talk about this real quick. I don't know if any of you caught this trade last week, but I said more than likely price is going to return back down to the 108.50 level. It hit it almost to the pip and actually went a few ticks lower to 108.48. So if you got in on this, congratulations. It was a I don't usually trade the yen, but so far you'd be up about 130 pips. So great job, nice little freebie that I threw out there for you guys. Hopefully it panned out for you. And I wouldn't be holding up to here or anything like that if I were you. If you are in this trade, you may want to start looking at taking some profit around the 110.20 to 110 even level there. But a nice bullish trade, as predicted. I wanted to see price run down. I think there's a good chance of this running up, especially if we see the price of US dollar run up a little bit higher into those levels that I was talking about. We could see a nice push up in the US yen category. Australian dollar. I think there's a real easy chance of Australian dollar pushing down into one of these three levels. So it's definitely going to hit 17200. I want to see the reaction at 17200. Again, there's a bunch of monetary policy numbers coming out on Monday evening and into the Asian session. So we're probably going to hit this before that ever happens. But I think one of these three levels on the downside, I think 7200 is definitely going to get hit. I want to see what kind of willingness they have to get down to 7165, and then from there I want to see if the 7110 level can get run to. And if that gets hit, there's a good chance we could see a bounce, and I want to see if it could be in time with the US dollar to see if we get price rolling over on the US dollar. If we do, then it could lend to a good long on Australian dollar at one of these levels here. So I'm going to wait and watch for that one. Our members, you'll get a signal for the Australian dollar. If we do see price break down to those levels, I would expect one of them to hold up as support, and we could see a price bounce. So I'll keep you updated on that. Crude oil, this guy has been pushing up nicely as predicted. Really wanted to see some deeper declines and retracements in here to get a nice long position off. We haven't quite got them yet, but we did see a few chances in here to get in. Hopefully you guys got in a long. I got in a long last week. I typically don't hold, especially crude oil, over the weekends, so I got out of my position. I got a nice late day runner on Friday. Hopefully you guys took advantage of this, but really, it's just finally broke out of this kind of mini consolidation level. It's been running in since January 8th, pushing up nicely. I'd like to see price, if we can't, I'm going to dial in just a little bit. I want to see if we can't get price back down a little bit and maybe rebalance at the 53.80 level. I think that would be a great potential for a setup for a long. Watch this level though. If they want to have any continuation through this level here, there's a real good chance that price could rebalance under these lows, right under here, and potentially make a bit of a run deeper. So that could be a potential. I don't want to see crude oil trade that deep. I'd like to see this bullishness continue. You look at this, nice bullish activity. I don't want to have to see them come all the way back down and test this trend line again. It's very possible though, which is why I've highlighted under these lows here. And if I got in and if I were sitting on a chart and looking at crude coming down there, there's a real good chance that they're going to use this as support, and a bounce would ensue at that target, and then the rest of the week could be very, very bullish. So that's what I'm looking at. We've come in, we've ran through all of these major highs in here just into last week. So the next major highs, I see it, is right up here at the 57.85 level. We're not far away from that right now. We're only a couple bucks away from that right now. I don't think they're going to just do a straight shot, but I would love to see them come down a little bit, retag off of that 53.80 level that I've got, maybe a little higher, and then start their trajectory higher. Okay, so hopefully this market review is going to give you a little insight as to what the week is up to for the Forex and crude oil markets. If you have any questions, shoot me a note on Twitter at F45 Trading. Follow us on our Instagram channel at Future45 Trade Signals. And of course, if you guys need some help trading, if you're beginners, if you're just learning, if you're new, and you want to learn more and you want to get a great Forex education, check us out at f45trading.com. Some great options on there. We've got a chat room, we've got signals, we've got live trading sessions every single week. Just about every single day during the week, and there's a coaching program, and there's lots of stuff available for you, so come and check us out if you're brand new, and at the very least, subscribe down in the bottom right hand corner to my YouTube channel. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll catch up to you on the next one.